EIU head coach Chris Wilkerson, team coming off its open date, back in action this week. They're going to face in-state foe Western Illinois in Macomb. That's Saturday afternoon, ESPN Plus. So, Coach, some thoughts about your team and how the open date went, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. The open date was great. We had some stuff we needed to work through and some situations we needed to continue to practice. I had a chance to certainly self-reflect and look forward. So, those non-conference games have prepared us very well. But now, hey, it's 8 straight weeks. Every down matters, and certainly excited to get into conference play this weekend on the road against a very talented, well-coached Western Illinois team.
Thanks, Coach. No, Barry's with us. Barry, go ahead with whatever you got.
Hey, good morning, Coach. How are you today?
Good morning, Barry.
You have a unique situation at quarterback where you have two guys in Connor and Cole who have both had exemplary games for you. Can you tell me a little bit about what opportunities that opens up for you offensively?
Yeah, a number of opportunities. Look, hey, they're going to both play, and they may both be on the field at the same time, and there will be situations where one of them will be on the field and the other one won't. And so again, part of our job as coaches is now to try to utilize the strengths of their skills. And I think Cole is a very capable passer. Just maybe wasn't as comfortable as Connor early in the season, but certainly very athletic and explosive. And I think Connor is a very good athlete, not as explosive as Cole, but obviously a very capable passer. And so they've both shown flashes of greatness. They both got a great comprehension of the offense. They're both competitors and winners. And I'm excited about seeing them continue to grow and lead our offense.
Your two corners, Isaiah Hui was one of the national leaders in PBUs, and Caleb Lyons has been really active. And I wanted to ask you about how have Isaiah and Caleb impacted games for you, and what have been their strengths so far?
Yeah, they both done a very good job. Coach Fleming does a really good job with those guys. And Coach Strobel is the defensive coordinator. They are very competitive guys. They have high football IQs. They study a lot of videotape. They're both very reliable. I know that they're not happy with their play, ironically, to this point in the season. And we expect to get Moses Alexander back this week in the rotation as well. So that's going to add to some depth in that room. And that's going to be very important because certainly Western Illinois, while they're very capable running the football, I know Joe is an awesome pass game guy. And they've shown with a number of quarterbacks that they can throw the football all over the place. They've got great depth at wide receiver. And so our guys are going to have their hands full. Tremendous challenge for our secondary this week, our defensive unit. I'm just looking forward to watching those two guys continue to grow and compete and improve.
You've talked a lot about other teams and their identities, as you face them. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about, do you have any insight, after 3 games about your identity as a team?
Yeah, I know what we want our identity to be, and we have yet to really put that product on the field as a group. Obviously we showed we could run the football a little bit the first week, and we showed we could pass the football week 3, and week 2 was an embarrassment, to be honest with you. So what we're trying to do is be the best version of ourselves. We've got to have a great week of preparation. We want to put our best foot forward. We want to make sure we're as prepared as we can possibly be because every single snap matters when you enter a conference play. These games are typically decided by 3 or 4 plays. And you have no idea. It could be the punt on 4th down and 5 in the second quarter with 7 minutes to go in the game that might be the pivotal point during this football game. And so every player and coach and staff member has to be at their best. And now again, we're all in, and everybody's the same way in the league. Obviously 2 teams have played each other once early before this, but everybody else gets into conference play this week, and it's super, super exciting. But what we want to look like is we want to look like a group that plays physically hard football. We want to play with great passion and poise, and we want to out execute our opponents, but we haven't been able to do that consistently. And so, that's what this is about, is trying to make sure that we put our best foot forward this weekend.
I know it's nice to say you want to get turnovers. I know in the last 9 games, I think you guys have 1, and I wanted to ask you about how do you stress that, and how do you stress getting the ball in game situations, taking the ball away?
It's been a problem for us to get takeaways. We go back to October of last year since the last time we got a defensive takeaway, and we're not the only team this season. I mean, shoot, look at the University of Oklahoma FBS football. Now that they're playing some really lights out defense and they're very productive as a team, but they haven't gotten a takeaway this year yet either. So I think, again, offensive coaches have done a very good job emphasizing protecting the football and not making mistakes and not beating yourselves. But we have got to have better ball disruption. And that's what we did. We went back and we retaught some of our ball disruption stuff and our turnover circuits during the bye week. And we understand the importance of turnover margin. We were even able to win the first game of the season, even though we were negative in the turnover margin. And that's not typical. We've got to be better disrupting offenses, ball disruption, finding a way to take the football away and certainly maintain possession of the football as well on offense.
Great. Thank you, Coach. See you Saturday.
Yeah, thanks a million.
Coach, this is a rivalry that dates back to 1930, but you all haven't played that many times in the past 20 years. Last year, with Western back in the league, can you just talk to that about an in-state foe and something that these two teams playing good for both programs?
Yeah, great for the league, great for the state, great for college football. We're fortunate that we have a ton of different kind of rivalry games on our schedule, whether they be geographic or regional or within the conference. But this is certainly one of them. And I haven't been to Macomb since 1994 when I was a senior, as a senior student athlete here at Eastern Illinois. And it's a tough place to play. We understand the challenge that we're going to have. And certainly there's the uniqueness with Joe being the head football coach there and was my offensive coordinator year 1 and year 2. And like you said, the rivalry that goes way, way, way back with the guys. They were probably our biggest rival when I was a player. The old Randy Ball teams, and before him, Bruce Craddock and certainly Bob Spoo here for years. But it's going to be a great college football game with two storied programs that have a chance to start their conference play. I know, again, they've played a really, really, really strong non-league schedule. They've got great talent. I know they might be a little banged up. It's hard to tell whether their quarterback sustained an injury at the end of the last game. They've traveled a lot. They've been on the road. But I know that Joe's going to have them ready to play. And what we've got to do is we've got to handle our business and make sure we're ready to compete on Saturday at 3:00.
I know you don't speak for the whole fan base, but who do you think the fan base has changed to who they see the biggest rivalry is now? Since you all don't play as every year, do you think they see it as Illinois State or somebody or Indiana State maybe, as opposed to Western back 20 years ago?
Yeah, I do think that the most recent fan base probably does think of Illinois State because we do play in the Mid-American Classic and we play for the trophy. But I know the guys that played back when I played, their absolute number one rival school is Western Illinois. And I would venture to say that the guys at Western are the very exact same, that it was Eastern was their number one rival. And again, those were some awesome knockdown, drag out football games, whether they were here or there. And a lot of talented players on both sides and a lot of great tradition that goes way back.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck this weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks a million. Go Panthers.